All right, we are live. This is take two. I can see the audio meter on the bottom of the screen, which means we have audio. So we're back. Usually, I wait till about halfway through the live stream before I get kicked off with internet issues. But now I just wanted to go ahead and front load it, get it out of the way so then we can get into it. This this live stream, I'm going to put it on all of the Spotify and podcast stuff later so you can listen to it later, but not live. That was my initial intention in creating this live stream. It's just running banter you can listen to on your run. However, not everybody has YouTube Premium, and they've asked me to put it on a podcast. It's not the Midlife podcast, it's the Stride and Shine podcast, which is my coaching business. I will put conversations with my athletes on that channel. I will also talk about lots of things running. I will also put these live streams, and I will put live stream on the front so that you know, and I know, and we all know what the hell it is. All right, hold on. Those are the remnants, which you're hearing now, of some VO2 work this morning. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about what you ran today. This, if you are new here, is a safe space to talk about all things running. Your easy run that nobody cares about, but you may not even care about it. You can tell me. Okay, you can tell all of us here. It's great. 5 miles easy at 5:32 a kilometer. You want to go metric? I'm here for it. Tell me about it. It's not humid everywhere now. It was still humid here yesterday. It wasn't humid this morning. I can't complain about the heat and humidity. No one wants to hear you complain. I want to hear you complain. You tell me all about the humidity, but now you got no humidity. Maybe you got wind. Maybe the wind was 12 miles per hour, but the gusts were 32. And it wasn't a tailwind. That wind was in your face the whole time, no matter which direction you turned. I want to hear about it. Please tell me about your wind gusts. Did you run on a treadmill? I want to know. I want to know, what was the incline? Was the treadmill calibrated? What was the person running right next to you? Did you check out how fast or not fast they were running? Did you check the running form of the people in front of you? Sometimes I check out the shoes. I do. I look at the shoes, but I have to be careful because if they're female, and they look at me and I'm looking at them, it's like, no. I am very married. Look, I'm very married, but I see that you're in those Sauconys, and that can't be comfortable. Yeah, a little shade on sex. Not a safe space for Saucony. Sorry, it's been a while, Saucony, since we could say that. So, but anyway, we probably don't judge in the gym other people's running form, but here you can. You could be like, I don't know what was up with their running form. They're going to get injured. Maybe not. Anyway, I could barely breathe. I did 2 times, 8 times 400 meters, 2 sets of 8 by 400 meters. Yeah, that's what it is. And my rest was 1:20. I took 20 seconds of walking, and then I jogged, if you could call it that, or shuffling for a minute. And my goal was to run 120 to 122. And I think I almost got all of them. There was some traffic. If my wife is listening to this, close your ears. Sometimes there's cars driving in, so I have to be careful, and I always am careful. But I have to slow down a little bit, let them go, and then charge, and make up for it and run too fast. So let's check out and see who's in here. Matt Byer says we're back. Yeah, we're back. Jason Horner says got it out of the way early. Nice. I'm a planner, Jason. You got to do things to smart. Live stream smarter, not harder. Matt Byer says the audio is all good now. Yeah. Andrew Cho says, hey, Coach Andrew. What's up, Andrew? How you feeling? You feeling refreshed? Are you feeling fully recovered from the marathon? Carrie Smith says YWGO, which stands for yo, what's going on? Carrie's lost. This is in the wrong live stream, but it's okay because we accept without comment anyone. It's a safe place for any runners. Not all who wander are lost. Kafuzi Run Club members are welcome here. Nicholas says the 8 ball this afternoon is going to suck. I have questions, Nick. I have questions. Don't really know what that 8 ball. I'm kidding, guys. I coach Nick. I titled this workout, this magic 800 ball, 8 ball workout. Matt Byer says no running today. Still recovering from Sunday's half. Plan to run a recovery run tomorrow. Well, Matt, if you want to share with the world how that half marathon went and how you're feeling about it with your emotions, this is a safe place for emotions. We could just say that stuff. We could say that shit, okay? I'm disappointed in myself. I'm not disappointed. I ran really hard. I'm proud of myself. Yeah. Jen Piazza says, wind gusts along the Atlantic City boardwalk today, but I made sure my faster miles were mostly in the tailwind because I'm a pro. Yeah, that's the way to do it. I don't know much about wind because we don't get a lot of it. We get a lot of the humidity, but I know in Chicago when I would watch Kafuzi or people running on the lakefront, it's like, yeah, or Floberg, you run into the wind easy and then try to get as many as you can in the tailwind. So Andrew Cho says, ran easy-ish with some strides today. Felt great. Wore the Evo SL. They still feel good after 160 miles. We're going to talk about that today also because the Evo SL was on my list today. I just titled this OF. I figured we'd talk about running shoes. I'm going to the running event and I want to prepare for it. I don't want to just come in with my questions. I want to know what you want to know about the shoes that are coming out. And so that I can ask the people, the running brands who are also people working for running shoe companies about running shoes. Andrew Cho, I ran in the Evo SL today as a warm-up, but before my workout, my 2-mile warm-up, I'm trying something new. Instead of something super padded like the Mizuno Neo Vista V2, I'm like, why don't I take a Frisky shoe out and warm up Steezy into gray zone before I let it rip? I have 151 miles in my Evo SLs, and I think they feel fantastic. Rick Huey says in some Saucony cohesions, we got to play a game one day where we just make up fake names for shoes. I think maybe Kafuzi did that one time. I'm gonna have to guess, like, is it a real name for a shoe or not? Because I've never heard of the Saucony cohesion, but I believe it. Like, I believe it. That's definitely got to be a thing. The Saucony does have a new one coming out next year, and I saw, but I don't know the name of it right now, but I think it's supposed to be along the lines of the Pegasus Plus or the Evo SL. Like it's supposed to be the juicy foam, all in a daily trainer kind of thing. So Philip Watts ran 1,600-meter repeats at a 10K pace, 7:30, 400-meter jog, 3 minutes, between on a track, no wind. Temps in Baltimore in the 50s. Oh my God, I love that for you. Just over 5 weeks until my first marathon Thanksgiving Saturday. Well, I love to hear that, Philip. I'm wishing you well. A pre-PR bell, can we do that? Since it's your first, it's good. We'll finish the rest of the bell after the marathon. Man, this is the hardest time of year in South Texas because today was 65 and that's about as cold as it has been. 64, maybe that feels like 63. We haven't seen the 50s yet. And we're, oh my God, it's almost trick or treat season. SZN. We're about to hit the Halloween, and we haven't even seen the 50s yet. So I know a couple days ago or yesterday, it was like a summer day. It was 73 degrees. The humidity, the dew point was like close to 70. I think it was 69. It felt like a summer running day. And that's okay, whatever. I mean, it's like that most of the year. But when I look around and I see our running friends like Philip Watts running in the 50s in Baltimore, it's just hard not to be envious, jealous of what could be. Panos says, "Hey, midlifers. Andrew, I really enjoyed your podcast." Thank you, Panos. I appreciate that. If you guys don't know, the Stride and Shine podcast is live. That's where this is going to go after we're done here. I've already spoken with a couple of my runners. I'm going to speak with another one tomorrow about their marathon experience, and I'm going to post those as well. So maybe 1, 2 episodes a week. I don't know what's too much. There's so much out there already to listen to that I don't want to add to the saturation where it's like, I'll get to it later. And then I never get to it. And the stuff that I really want to watch, I that happens to me. I'm 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through Floberg's No Time Chicago Marathon recap. And he's such a good storyteller. And I'm really enjoying it. But I haven't had the time to like sit down and watch it. And I want to create so much content that it's like I get put on deck and then it just add to the queue. The queue never comes. So try to space it out. Matt Byer says, I saw a runner in Sunday's rainy, windy half wearing Vibram 5-finger barefoot shoes. I passed him around mile 4 or 5 and never got passed back. It was wild to see. That's the kind of thing you got to keep an eye out on, right? Like, because the ego is definitely, and I said this I don't, in one of the interviews I was talking with one of my runners, but um, in every single marathon I have ever run, there's usually female, but it's like a leathery old woman, sometimes a man, and they have this weird gait where like they're going into like the shoulders are just making large loops or ovals or something, and they're just like going side to side and they're in front of me and they're holding my pace. I'm like, good on them. Good on them. Like, and I'm not saying there's any pity or whatever. I'm just kind of like, that's great. And then they never slow down. And then I can never catch them. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. That person is like 20 years older than me. They're faster than me and they run in a way that shouldn't work. I don't understand. They don't even have a hip. They're missing the left side of their hip and they're making it work. I did catch the one in Boston. I caught her around mile 22, but she shit herself. She was like her pant, like I was like, oh God, like I started to close on her, but I was like, I don't want to get too close because I don't like if I smell anything and I gag, I don't like this was legitimate concern. I didn't put this in the recap. So I had to burst by her like around mile 22, and I had enough in the tank where I could do it. And she did not catch me. And in Marine Corps, she had a pink tutu, like a skirt, like she was running in that, and I caught her on mile 26 in the last half of the last mile. So I mean, I know it was overtrained, but she probably ran like a 3:13. Like that's really impressive. There's always one of those, right? And it like someone in like a costume that passes you or Vibram 5 fingers, you're just like, okay, all right. It's not the shoes. They're just fit AF. Jason Horner says the morning alarm just isn't doing the trick the past couple of days. Still hoping to run this afternoon, but the motivation's hard to find lately. Feeling the post-marathon blues? Well, Jason, I know you already got one, but I'm going to give you another one. A little soft post-marathon blues bell here. Jason ran a 2:48:30 in Chicago. It's a pretty massive goal. And super congrats, Jason. I would find the really hard. You should reset. I mean, you should take a couple weeks to just soak it in and reset. So usually putting another race on there, and you already got races lined up, but usually putting another race on the schedule kind of helps a little bit about. But I've heard that it's because we just this is our singular purpose. We're working towards this goal, not our singular purpose, but our purpose. And then it's done. And then it's like, oh, I haven't really thought past this. Now what? And usually there's such great experiences too. For me, like when you travel, you go to a major, you're surrounded by other runners, you run a good time. It's great. And then it's like back to the grind. And for the majority, the vet after Boston, my work did actually put a little celebratory thing up and like they acknowledged that I ran the Boston Marathon and it broke 3, but like other times they're just like, where are those papers? We need the reports. Yeah, I'm gonna need those reports. No one cares. Matt Byers says felt great about the half, 136.09, given the rain the entire race in Ohio, steady 17 to 22 mile per hour winds, but 33 to 40 mile per hour gusts. I dealt with knee pain. Uh-oh, I'm way behind. I dealt with knee pain for most of the block and calf tightness late, so no PR, but thrilled with the time. Well, congrats, Matt. Well fought. Okay, I'm gonna write this down. Frank wants to know, will the US get an Adios 10 release? I mean, I'm gonna put it to memory, but also we'll see. I think I'm not sure if they're just like, hey, we'll talk to anybody, or if I have to like qualify myself. Like, hey, I've got 9,000 subscribers. I got a channel. I talk about running shoes. Do you have 5 minutes to talk about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? I mean, about these running shoes? I imagine they're like, yeah, sure, please. That's why I'm here. It's free press. Philip Watt says ASICS is usually terrible at TRE, but I would like confirmation on the Magic Speed 5 going back to bring more dynamic, lower stack, and Super Blast 3 having FF Leap foam. All right, I'm going to write this down too, Philip. Should probably just take a picture with my phone. Those are shoes that I'm actually very interested in as well. Speed 5. Nick says the Saucony Tuyas. I know. It's like the Haktua Tuas. There it is. That's what it's called. The Saucony Endorphin Azura. Non-plated endorphin. Oh, okay. Yeah. Stevie76 is 50 American. In terms of the weather, sometimes I'm so far behind, and then y'all guys write the comments in, and then I'm like, wait, in regards to what? What was I even talking about? I don't remember. I don't have that. Let me try to catch up, and then we could talk some running shoe rotation shoes. Philip says he's aiming for under 4 hours in his first marathon on a rail trail. Not much elevation change. Slightly 1% uphill and 1% downhill the second half the way back. Well, that's one way to do it. I talked to Dave a couple of days ago or yesterday about his St. George experience and something that I don't really think about. It's like I, for years, wanted to do one of those tunnel marathon, Jack and Jill, Rebel, downhill marathons. They seem so appetizing. I'm gonna just gobble up some mileage. That's got to be good for at least 5 minutes off your marathon time, maybe. And you start way up high though. So if you don't live at altitude, depending, you may not deal well with the elevation. And then your quads take a pounding for 20 miles. And then it may be physically hard to run the last 10K as fast as you would like. And these are things that I never thought about and would both be surprises to me if younger me went out and pulled the trigger on one of these races. Matt says the podcast was great. Thank you, Matt. And I think one pod a week is a good schedule. We'll do. Philip says, hopefully at TRE, you can try out the Glycerin Max 2 coming out in November or December. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm going to circle that one. You know what's going to be awkward is if like I go talk to Brooks and I'm like, hey, Brooks, whoever works at Brooks, I don't, the guy's name probably won't be Brooks. And I'll say, hey, could you tell me about this shoe? And he says, "Yeah, well, it has the classic Dole Brooks bounce." And then he stares and looks at me and gives me a beat. And I'm like, "Oh, he watches the channel." And I always refer to Brooks having the Dole Brooks bounce, but it's a backhanded compliment. It's actually really nice because it allows you to still be in control of the shoe. I like the Dole Brooks bounce a lot 'cause it's good for daily training, and then you can pick it up. So, but that would be kinda awkward and really funny because I never know, like, who watches the channel. I didn't quit running around my neighborhood really and get out into a race until Houston in 2024. That's when the first time, like, people were like, hey, midlife," and I was like, "Somebody watches the channel?" I mean, I know in theory people watch the channel, I see people watch it, but I don't it's not really real because 'cause I'm just, like, taking care of my kids and working and then running around my neighborhood and just putting stuff on the internet. So it would be weird if, like, people in the industry actually watched anything that I made, and they would be like, "Yeah, we blacklisted you a long time ago." Kieran says, "When is TRE? Sorry, I missed the start of the stream." Yeah, well, which stream? Because there was one without audio. This is good you missed that one. TRE is the first week of December, and it is in the lead up to the SATX marathon. And something that's really cool, I don't know if I could talk about it, but I got my first sort of influencer gig where I got invited to something by a brand to go to, but they're doing it in San Antonio the week before. And they're like, "Hey, we're flying everybody out and putting them up." And I was like, "Oh, this is great. Where, when, in San Antonio." And I'm like, "Oh man, my first deal. And I don't even get to fly in. I don't even get to be put up. It's down the street. Let me go drive to San Diego, and then you can fly me in, and I can feel really important, and then that would be cool." Although I almost declined him. I almost told him, "You know what? It's here. It's not even worth it." No, but I'm very excited about that. And then they're like, "Oh, and this also includes a pass to TRE." And I'm like, "Oh, but I just got approved for a content creator pass. So I got in twice, but one of them's free, so I'm trying to get my money back." Jason, you got me. You got me. You gotta save that money. Whoa, Matt Beyer says, there was a running buddy of mine saw a guy running Chicago Marathon barefoot. What a flex. I'm gonna have a hard enough time talking myself into Takumi Sen 8 for a half. Wow. All right. Let's see. Jason Horner says, "Putting a fake poop stain on the bottoms is a gross but effective way to keep people from using you as a wind block and pacing you." That is a move. Yeah, if you have enough humility to take that. Luis says, "Hola, hola, Luis. Welcome in." We usually wait till Luis gets here before we get into the subject and get this live stream started. He's on Mexican time, so I don't know if you guys know San Antonio. We're 75% Mexican. We're all like I'm part uh Garza, my wife's Garcia, and then it's a way here. And I remember we were in Mexico and we were staying at this resort and we were waiting for a shuttle. And it was like from the airport, "Oh, this is going to take a long time." "Okay, well, there's taxis going around. Hey, you can get a taxi." And I'm like, "Well, how much?" Everything's a negotiation, by the way. They said like $80. I was like, "Yeah, right. No way." And then he's like, "Okay, we're waiting." He comes down and it's 60. And I'm like, "No, no, no, no. We're not paying $60. We got a shuttle from the hotel. It's coming, whatever, right?" Finally, the guy comes around, he's like 40. And we've been waiting for a while. Me and my wife, we're like, I look at her, she's like, "Yeah, let's just go." I was like, $40. Then the guy from the shuttle comes over, and he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, wait, wait, what are you doing?" He goes, "No, I got you, I got you, I got you," right? Because I think they get paid, from the shuttle. And he goes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. And then the taxi driver goes, 5 Mexican minutes, 5 Mexican minutes. So we're like, okay. So then we took the taxi. We got a deal from it. So, um, we're just on our own timelines here. So Michelle says, "It's amazing what works for people. I also noticed the pacer of the 410-hour pace group was wearing sandals." That's disrespectful. Like, Okay, guys, I'm gonna pace this 410 group, but I'm gonna let you know, not so subtly, that I could have run a 310 if I so choose. But I just couldn't find my running shoes on my way out, so I just slid on these sandals to pace you for this world major. That's disrespectful. They should get that revoked. Andrew Cho says, hopefully they don't change too much about the Brooks Glycerin Max. No, I hope not, Andrew. I have 325 miles in that shoe. Okay, so let's start working our way into the subject because now we're 25 minutes into this live stream. About my running shoe rotation. So for the recovery, I have been using the Neo Vista V2, which I have here. I had like an original 5-on-5 video about the shoe, and then I did it my recovery shoe of the year. And I didn't run in the Glycerin Max until this year. I came out last year, and I put over so I have 324 miles on it, but I put 170 in the Neo Vista V2, and it's so soft. The Glycerin Max is very comfortable, and it has that nice dull Brooks bounce. I love it from recovery to easy day, even to steezy days. But now when I run in it, the last time I ran in it, it felt a little bit firm. And I think it's just because I've been running so much in the Neo Vista V2, which I did my cool down miles in today, because that shoe is just so soft. But when I saw that they were coming out with the Glycerin Max 2, I thought the same thing. Wow, I really hope they don't change too much about the shoe because it's really awesome. If there was a way to make it slightly lighter, I think they went a little overboard with the upper, but we'll see. So Nick says, sneaking in a few minutes of the live stream during the lunch break. Don't worry, Nick. I will not tell your boss. Don't even know your boss. John says, PR'd in the Des Moines Marathon on Sunday by 1 minute and 27 seconds. John, there's a dinner bell. It's time to feast on the PR. I'm going to give one to my boy Joe, Stride and Shiner. He ran a 306 in Des Moines. That is a PR for him. So we've got to represent. Let's see here. Rick Huey says, when is the New Balance SE Trailer V4 releasing? Love versions 1 and 2, but 3 was a disappointment. Too firm. Oh, the SE Trainer. The SE Trainer. I thought they were doing away with that. I'm not so sure. One was the best thing that ever happened to me. And then it's an exaggeration. I do have a problem with the exaggeration. It works for the sake of comedy, and it always makes me laugh. Chris Rock in some movie said, my credit's so bad, they won't take my cash. And I laughed for 3 years when I was in high school. It was so funny. Version 2 was fun. A little bit wonky. My knee hurt, but I did like it. Never tried the 3, but I'll ask. Stevie76 says possible podcast sponsorships. And what Stevie76 means, fake podcast sponsorship. So here's what I do. I go in and I tell you what the podcast is not sponsored by. And then I give you a tidbit like that's completely fabricated. That sounds like some read that a brand would put out. And then in hopes that they'll send me some of the product, but really just to kind of be funny. So Helix mattress. These are ideas from Stevie. So for the next one, HelloFresh, AARP. All right. Yeah, the guy at Brooks, Frank, is in here to clarify. His name is Brooks. He is the chief of sales at Brooks, and we would have it no other way. All right, moving on. Daily trainers. Daily trainers, I got to put into like one of two categories. It's like dynamic daily trainer or just kind of like run of the mill daily trainer. And dynamic is giving you a little something, little extra, something to get excited about, something to write your mother home about. One of my two favorite ones of this year so far. Not surprised, guys. And listen, I know I'm about to tell you about a Mizuno shoe, and I'll tell you about a lot of Mizuno. Mizuno does send me shoes. I don't love all Mizuno shoes. Okay, I'm not telling you to get the Flash 2. I'm telling you not to get the Flash 2. They do have some like speed shoes coming out that I'm very excited about, but I'm basically just not going to homer all of the shoes. But the Neo Vista 2, I can also point to Kafuzi or Yowana and be like, "Hey, see, they like that shoe too." This is generally what we call a winner. All right. Neo Zen, and I think the problem, not the problem, there's a hair on there. I don't know what this is on, but I think the problem with the shoes this year, and it's not a problem with the shoes, just like the release of them, all of the best shoes seem to have come out in December or January. And the life cycle of these shoes, it's like the media cycle or however long they're around, you'll see 3 months in, people are like, the best shoes of the year so far. The best shoes of the year, the first half of the year, July. And then we shelve them and then we don't talk about them anymore. And the Nova Blast 5, the Nova Blast series usually comes out in December. And then we talk about it like it's January release. I think the Evo SL, same thing happened. It was like a December. And then the Neo Zen came out, I think January or December also. And I got it to 100 miles and I ran in it a while. And then I started running in a bunch of other shoes. Then I returned to it and it was like just as juicy and golden as it was in the beginning. And now I have 185 miles. So I'm coming up on my 200-mile review of the Neo Zen. And what I can say is my man, Dave, also has put 500 miles on it. And now he is switching it up. Luis Becerra says Blacklisted sounds like a good shoe film. Yeah. It's clickbaity for sure. I think I can get a lot of views. You know, it's all about the views. Matt Byer says you could do a half in the Sen 8s. I've done it multiple times in the 8s and the 10s. After doing a full marathon in Boston in the Fast R3, I feel capable. SATX versus Cape Town, Alamo versus Table Mountain, says Stevie76. Luis Becerra says Garcia is not a common last name. What are you talking about? Yeah, Garcia and Garza. Those are two at the top, the Smith and the Miller of Mexico. So the next one, Nova Blast 5, I'm going to include it on the list. I think I have about 65 miles on it. This is Dynamic Daily Trainer. This is the shoe I want to run in when I want to run steezy, and it has bounce. Now I have to clarify that I am a short king. I am 5'6". I'm gaining weight. I'm over 150 pounds now. Been hitting the carbs pretty hard. Too many conchas, Luis. And this shoe still responds very well to me, but I've noticed in powerful runners and big stride runners, they describe the shoe as being comfortable and soft, and it does have a padded heel collar, and it does feel like a soft shoe. And versus the Neo Zen, which has like a knit upper, it's not comfortable in the fit or the lockdown so much as it is a very soft ride. So there's that. So the Zen, if I'm running everyday dynamic shoe, right, that it feels good, running everyday paces, the Nova Blast 5, when I want to pick it up. And then like we were talking about earlier, I have over 150 miles in the Evo SL, which is another shoe that I think the foam has softened a little bit. And now I can settle with this Steezy. I think in the first 75 miles, every time I ran in it, it really just pushed me out of the easy zone into more of a gray zone. I have free will. I am in control of my body. I can slow down. I did slow down. I don't have to run gray zone. But then now all of a sudden, I'm very mindful of my running form in the Evo SL. So I don't necessarily enjoy it just walking around as a daily trainer or just for easy day running. But after 150 miles, or I don't know, after 100 miles, it slowed down a hair. So now I can run steezy miles in it. So those are like the three trainerish shoes that I like to run in. Let's see here. Kieran says, thoughts on the Endorphin Pro 5? I thought the Pro 3 was the best one. I also thought that the Pro 3 was the best one. And what I liked about the 3 was that it was very stiff. And stiff shoes can be snappy, like the original Metaspeed Sky, which had a low plate position and was the firmest shoe I've ever run in. off the toe and it snapped. And the more power I put in, the greater energy return that I got. The problem with the Pro 3 is maybe my running form, but I got Achilles issues because I like the shoe was in control of me. That big rocker was in control of me. I didn't have the problem with the Endorphin Elite version one in the same way. But we'll see what they do with the 5. I think when you start combining all the foams and it's really like, well, how does it respond underfoot? I saw something that Fleet Feet put out. They got Nate from the Run Experience. It's like, why? He's the best. What a legend. Why isn't he in every single video that Fleet Feet puts out? The Fleet Feet experience, the foot experience. Like, he's the best. We wish we had more Nate from the Run Experience. Anyway, they put out a video on the Pro 5, and I just thought they described it in a way that's like, well, if you don't want to graduate to the Endorphin Elite, then you can do this one. So they're still sort of positioning it, or at least it was covered that way by Fleet Feet as like more of the beginner or starting super shoe from Saucony. But there's no way to tell. My opinion wasn't the same one for a lot of people. A lot of people thought, oh yeah, it's a good marathoner shoe. But I think me and Andrea from Doctors of Running liked it more for speed work, 5K, 10K. Like it's a very fast shoe, like the first two. So Philip says, I've seen leaks of the Glycerin Max 2 improved outsole traction and slightly moved rocker for better toe off. I could see that if they made it more like a steezy shoe. This will bring me to the other shoe. It's kind of a no man's land shoe. I've quickly got 50 miles in the Vomero Plus. I think that's what it's called. I get confused. It's not the premium, it's the Plus, Vomero Plus. And it has the same use case as the Glycerin Max, where I could take it for recovery. I kind of like it at every day. It's nice and bouncy, and I can go steezy. A little bit heavy to hold steezy, like I wouldn't do a steady 10-mile run in the shoe, but I just love the shoe. And I came out with the video on the channel saying the Nike Vomero Plus is gas, as the kids say. I hope people know I'm being ironic. I think there's probably many people who just like tune in and they're like, that is so cringy. And then they never watch again. I'm pretty convinced of it. Anyway, if the Glycerin Max 2 has a little more of a rocker and gives a little more push forward, I could see it rivaling that's not a word, Vomero Plus, where the Vomero Plus, I think it comes from the drop mostly. MK says, OMG, I'm an AARP member. Well, then that's definitely going to have to be the next fake sponsorship. Welcome in, MK. All right. Let's see. Oh, no. Matt Byers coming in with the rumor mill. I've heard reports of early Brooks testers that the Glizzy Max is a major step back from the OG. Now, I do want to say this. There are some shoes that I feel like barely work. They barely work. Like all of the components come together to just like barely work. And if you change any one of those variables in any one direction, it's not going to work. And that's where Hoka landed. Hoka had a good year with the Rocket X2, with the Mach X2. But you got to remember the Mach X1, the Rocket X1 and the Mach X were not bangers. They weren't, well, at least the Mach X wasn't. And so when the Mach X3 came out, the Rocket X3, people are like, some people still like them, but they're misses. And I can see that they're misses because I felt like they barely worked with the weight and the energy return. It was proportionate in those shoes, and I really like them. Sorry, guys, these 400 meters are killing me. All right. I'm doing it right. I know I was doing those reps right because I started negotiating And during the workout, 7 reps in, I wasn't even halfway, and my negotiator already went to the table to me and started talking to me about 12. That was his starting negotiation. That was his point. He's like, look, man, 5 more, 12, 3 miles. Everybody knows 12 by 400. It's a thing. No one's going to know it's supposed to be 16. You're the coach, right? You could just, you make the rules. You're the principal. No one's putting you in detention, my man. 12. Okay. Still take the break at 8, but then you just got 4 more, and you could even hammer them a little harder if you want. You could. It's going to look good. Then it'll look like a progressive. I say, shut up. We're running the 16, even if we fail. Oh, man. But then this is what it's like for the lungs to get a little tickle. Every time I do it, I'm like, I don't do this enough. Philip says New Balance seems to be going to a 2-year release window. Or are they redesigning the line? Hence, the new Pacer and SC Trainer weren't released in 2025 and haven't seen links. I don't really know what's going on with New Balance. I thought they were like my favorite running shoe company in 2022 with the Rebel V3 and the SC Trainer 1. Then they moved to a new formulation of foam, and it did not. I tried every shoe the next year, and they all didn't work. And I hope they come back, but I haven't been trying them. The brands that kind of speak to me, I don't think there's a best brand, because everybody's an individual and you like whatever shoes you really like. But Puma and Mizuno, I don't know if it's like the nitrogen infused TPE type of foams, but they really speak to me. Those are like my 2 favorite brands. So Andrew says at TRE, can you ask Puma why they aren't making enough fast R3s? I will. I would definitely ask that. Creating demand. So Sam says late join, but way to start your podcast journey. Thanks, Sam. It's a cinematic voyage, as I say. All right. Boring shoes. Your run-of-the-mill daily trainers. There's 2, the SL2 from Adidas from last year. Then I have close to 60 miles on the Wave Rider 29. I haven't tried the Puma Velocity 4, but I heard that one's a really good one, and I think it's in the same key of those 2 shoes. Can't speak to it because I'm not running in it. Problem with that genre of shoe, the budget daily trainer, is that for a little bit more, you can get a dynamic daily trainer. And so sometimes those are super discounted. So I got the SL2s for like $50 on the site. But then I just never run it. They almost become like a gym shoe. And I just like catch a double on the treadmill for 4 miles here or there. That's kind of that. Frank says the run experience started sucking when it stopped being Nate. Truth. Throwing truth bombs out here, Frank. That's when I quit watching it. I'm rooting for. I try. I want to support, and that's the thing. It's like they all seem like very nice people. But then I saw Nate one time in a Fleet Feet video, and I was like, that's where he went. I thought Nate was retired. I thought he became a professional CrossFitter or something. And I was like, all right, well, I gotta subscribe to Fleet Feet. Man. Yeah. RIP run experience. Frank said the Australian dude kept saying stuff that was flat out wrong. Oh man, when I quit watching the running channel when I was a beginning runner, they used to do like, they do those transitions to like one of their team of 5. Is this one guy recommended these shoes, and I tried them both. The Brooks Levitate 2 and the Nike Pegasus 37. Those were my least favorite shoes. The Levitate 2 kept breaking my ankles. It was so hard to run in. I was like, this shoe has one job, and it's not doing it very well because I can't run in it without breaking my feet. And then I realized, like, these guys don't know what they're talking about. This is just, but they have a brand, and I saw Believe in the Run, and it was like these dudes standing in front. I was like, oh, they work at a running store, and they must work for these brands. I didn't know it's a couple guys. I believed in all of the branding and stuff. I thought, I'm new to this running world, and there's these big organizations, Believe in the Run. There's these big corporate entities. like the running channel, and they know. And so the run experience, yeah, same thing. I'm like, and they're so confident. So Kieran says at TRE, can you ask Puma to confirm Velocity Nitro 4 uses ATPU because Ed Butt said they told him it's not. I don't believe him. Well, yeah, I'm gonna write that one down, Kieran. If I talk to Puma, I don't know who I'm gonna see there. I'm gonna see everybody. I'm gonna try to see everybody and ask. And of course, selfishly, I'm gonna be like, "Oh, did you know that I test shoes and review them online? Would you like me to add? Would you like to add me to your list?" They probably get asked that all the time. They're like, "No, absolutely not." You're gonna have to go ask Brooks. Brooks. Frank says Mach 2 was such a bad shoe that I haven't tried Hoka since. Yeah, I wasn't alone. When I talked to my man Sagasu, Chris Stepanek, I think we had similar Hoka journeys early in 2020. Like, I really wanted to like these running brands. And to me, like, Brooks and Hoka were posited as these big running brands. And I was like, oh, I've got to try all these shoes. And I tried like 4 different. My first carbon plated shoe was maybe the Carbon X. That was not the move. That was not it. So I quit running in Brooks or Hoka for a few years. And I don't remember the shoe that brought me back to try them, but I think they were onto something with the bouncy Kiba. But the shoes tend to be heavy. With the Mach X2, it is a heavy shoe, but the bounce is so nice. And I think it was the same with the Cielo X1 1.0. It's also heavy but bouncy, and that's kind of nice. But Shannon Sides is in here. What's up, Shannon? Oopsie, better late than never. It's a safe space, Shannon. Come and go as you please. Okay. Sam says, with all the super recovery shoes, any thoughts on what the Super Blast 3 will be like? You know, Sam, I don't have an idea. I know they're switching up the foam, and what I'm praying for, I've I don't know. I don't feel gaslit because no one's telling me. No one has added me. No one has come at me in the comments on my Mega Blast review and said straight up, "You're wrong." Sometimes that happens because I'm a guy on the internet. People will tell me that my experience in the shoe is wrong. Everyone says this Mega Blast is so stable, 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 stable. But when I run in it, I feel aches and pains. Maybe it's my running form or my running mechanics. It does not feel very stable. The only people who said it was a little bit shifty was the doctors of running, and they're kind of like the voice of authority on stability, in my opinion, as far as the doctors of running, the brand, But anyway, that was my experience in the shoe. And the Super Blast 2, what I felt was a very stable shoe. I'm hoping those two get married and have the Super Blast 3, and it's a stable version of a Mega Blast. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. So I was really late to the Super Blast train. There's never discounted. I'm a budget buyer. ASICS doesn't send me shoes. So Louise says, just tell them you know Mike Co. Yeah. Um, what a flex. What a flex. They'll be like, Mike Co would never say that. You know, it's the humility for me. So, all right. Now, the shoe I ran today in my speed day shoe. This has become my default shoe. I haven't run in the Rival Fly 4 in a while because I've just been running in the Streak Fly V2. And here it is. Sometimes I think to myself, this shoe is so special. This race day shoe is so great. I only want to run in it on race day. I only like it's going to sit around on my shelf for 2 years while I don't buy other shoes. I'm going to buy too many shoes. And then it's just going to sit there with 37 miles. Absolutely not. I will not have it. I've got over 57 miles in the shoe. I'm going to get it to 100. I did it with the Takumi Sens a couple times. I put well over 150 in the first one, and then I started running in the other one because I had them on discount. I'm like, I got this fresh pair I'm going to run 100 plus miles in that one. I am going to run 100 miles in the Streak Fly V2, and I don't know what shoes are coming out. The speed shoes, well, I know Mizuno's doing a light foam kind of thing. They're doing the F1 racer type shoes. And I love everything else from Mizuno just about, so I'm probably gonna run in those and see what they're like. But yeah, shoes super light, definitely mid to 4 foot type of shoe. Is designed like a spike for the roads. Some shoes are like 180 bucks. I'm like, usually I can find them on the Supple app at a discount eventually. It's like I'm just gonna have to spring the full for that, and it would be absolutely worth it. But some legend online on the Supple app sold them to me for like 140 or 150. So I was like, ooh, discount. Such a great shoe. Matt, Dr. Nike says, I've never tried a Hoka shoe. Well, that makes sense. I mean, you did your residency at Nike, so I understand. Like you can't be caught with walking around in a Skyward X while you're getting your PhD in the swoosh. Shannon says Cielo X is one that could get me back. Talking about Hoka. Frank says, just tell them you are Mike Co. Yeah, we'll see how that works for me. Yeah. All right. So speaking of Hoka, because here we go. Shannon, this one could. I've been doing my long runs. I have like a long run shoe that also I can do marathon pace in, which is usually retired race shoes from other years because I've run races in them and I don't run that many races. And I can't just say, oh, this shoe's only going to be reserved for race day. So last year it was the Adios Pro 3. I got over 250 plus miles just doing my long runs in them. This year it's going to be my man Cielo X1 2.0 or my girl, I don't know. It's a shoe. So it has that rocker geometry, and it came up with a video that no one watched, which says that it has that early rocker that reminds me of the Evo SL, and they both feel really good. This one is comfortable, and it has a softness. So I don't want soft from a very fast shoe. Like the Adios 9, I don't want soft, but soft is a little bit, it's more acceptable for me in a marathon, especially if I'm not going to redline it seemingly the whole way. Like if I want just the slight amount of comfort. Andrew says, I feel like the Mega Blast feel better and better as you run in it more. It's like the Evo SL 2.0. Oh man, you gotta tell me that. I couldn't make it. It breaks my ankles. I'm sure the guy from the running channel loves the Mega Blast. I haven't checked back in the running channel in a long time. And it's weird the way the algorithm works because I know I'm subscribed to all those channels still. I never unsubscribe. I don't take the time to do any of that. But then I see like when someone posts a community post or something, even if I'm not subscribed, it pops up. So like Alex Validi posted something about a run shoe thing, and it was like, oh yeah, meta endurance. And I clicked on it and I was like, where'd that guy go? Well, he's still making videos. He's out of sight, out of mind. They don't come up and they don't surface. And it makes me wonder if the saturation is a better way to go than like making a video every week. It's just if you do it every day and then it pops up in people's algorithm more. I don't know. The Pace Pusher says, stop by to tell you way to go in Sugarland. Thank you, Pace Pusher. We're going to give myself because it's a safe space. We could get 2 bells if we want. So, oh man, we got to go back up. Luis Becerra says, I had the Mach 3. That shoe didn't want to go slow. Faster paces. That shoe felt good. Going slow, thumbs down. Philip Watt says the Super Blast 3 leaks have new propulsive FF Leap foam in the Metaspeed Tokyos on top with the firmer FF Blast Plus on the bottom for stability. Due out in March. There's ASICS has just gotten out of control. Somebody needs to check them on their FF stuff. Yeah, I lost track a long time ago. I'm talking years ago. FF Blast, FF Blast Plus, FF Blast Turbo, FF Blast Eco, FF Leap. It's like, okay, well, Leap, that's different. But I can't one of them is slappy, and I think it's the Eco because the Eco was in the Nova Blast 4 and it was also in the Super Blast 2. That's the one that's kind of slapping the bass, man. That one's kind of slappy. The one that's in this Nova Blast 5 is juicy. And it was written on the side. Maybe it's written on the side of the other one. Whatever. Oh, FF Blast Max. See what I mean? I can't keep track. It's almost like I've just got to run in it and then I'll tell you like, hey, that feels good or that doesn't. Because in theory, a lot of them just sound like incredible. And then you never know. Or if they'll be like, it has a slab of our inner Z next. Well, it's like, okay, well, how big of a slab? What are we talking about here? So, because in the Wave Rider 28, they just had like a tiny little puck in the back, just similar to when they did the Evo. No, not the Evo, just the regular SL. The one, it was firm, but they're like a puck of Light Strike Pro. It was like this little puck in the front. You couldn't feel it because the other regular foam was just so firm. You didn't really feel it. This one, it has more and it's bouncy. This shoe kind of reminds me of my Speed Day shoe. I'll probably make a short about this, but these shoes remind me of each other. This is the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite version 3, and I think the complementary daily trainer would be the Wave Rider 29. They have that nitrogen infused kind of bounce. Obviously, anytime I'm comparing a daily trainer to a super shoe, the super shoe is going to have the better foam. It's going to be lighter. It might have a plate in it, which it does. So Jason Horner says after mile 20, you can feel every bit of the plate in this shoe. I love it. It's lightweight. It's super great. They both have a similar kind of bounce. The Mizuno Wave Rider 29 is a little bit wider, has a little bit more of stability, which makes sense because it's a daily trainer. Shannon Side says, I thought I unsubbed to SJD, but apparently he hasn't posted in a month. I don't know what it is. I did the SJD tribute video a few years ago, and now every time I say however, I go, however, and then sometimes I go Mizuno. Okay. And so I still do these little homages, little tributes to little Easter eggs to SJD. And I forget. And then some people are like, oh, little SJD coming in there. But yeah, he doesn't. But he started posting again for a while, I thought, when he ran Jersey City half. I was following that because my man Aaron was running that as well. But once he gets, and it's always been this way, once he really gets heavy into the trail stuff, I don't watch as much, and I think I watched him a lot as a beginner because he spoke to beginners a lot. Just turn that doorknob. So rooting for him. Hope he's doing good. He's got 6 kids, so he's got a lot. He's got so much. Matt says, hold on. He says, yeah, SJD only posted 1 or 2 times in the past 2 months or so, ever since he attempted the 14 mountain top trek. Philip Watt says, don't forget FF Blast Max and the Turbo Squared. That's something you're making up. Turbo Squared? That's got to be made up. You could trick me on that one. Like the fake names of shoes could do fake names of foam. Turbo Cubed is on deck. That one's coming next. They're just crazy with these names. Chicago Mesh. All right. Matt's out of here. Got to jump on a meeting. We'll catch the rest later, Matt. All right. Frank says, does SJD other stuff pay for his gigantic family? It seems weird that he posts so irregularly now. Well, Frank, I didn't know much about how much anything sort of pays with Google and AdSense. And so I just crossed 9,000 subscribers. That's not something I try to get. I'm not like, I got to get a bunch of subscribers. Most of the videos I forget to ask people to subscribe. And I don't know, I know Ed Bud always is it in the front. And I did care to get 1,000 because 1,000 you get monetized. It's like, oh, you can make money. But then, so I did that, and then I got 1,000 subscribers, and then it's like 20 cents a day, maybe. And I was like, oh, you don't really make a whole lot of money from Google. Well, how does people make money from? I was like, oh, well, like Mr. Beast, like big channels, get a lot of watch time, then they make money. Okay, that makes sense. And then I think I saw, oh yeah, then I saw memberships. So I was like, oh, is memberships people buy memberships? Memberships seems like a very 2020 thing. My wife subscribes to Kate and Alex. I don't know their name. They do like artsy craft stuff and little things, and they build things, and they kind of explore together or whatever. And they have this channel. And some people do Patreon. Patreon's even older than 2020. If they do some of that stuff, and it's like, no, I don't think that model would work. I think it worked around 2020. The way that I see it is that if you had a channel before 2020, then 2020 hit and everyone collapsed on YouTube, and then all those channels blossomed. And if you started a channel after, you don't get the same, you missed the boom, you don't have the same growth rate, but you really don't make a whole lot of money from that. I know that Ben Parks has like merch, and he might have enough like watch time and stuff too, but I don't really know if the brands pay him for sponsorship or kind of what. But I can't imagine he could support a family of 6 with the YouTube channel, because mostly it's watch time, and if you don't make anything, then you don't get a lot of watch time hours. So I don't know. It's interesting, but Jason Horner says, "See y'all later. Great chat as always." Shannon says, "Andrew, you've got the mannerisms nailed." Frank says, 10,000 coming soon. Yeah, what's funny? My little guy, Major, he said something. He goes, "How much is?" Because he watches some of those YouTube kids channels. They're made for kids stuff. They probably have millions of subscribers. Every single little kids channel has millions of subscribers. And he goes, "What's the silver play? How many subscribers?" He can't say the word right, and I don't even know how to pronounce it like he pronounces it. I can't butcher it in the way he does. How many subscribers does the silver one? I was like 100,000, and I know that because like that's peak running niche YouTube stuff, you know. And then he's like, "How many do you have?" And I was like, 9,000. He's like, "Only 91,000 more." He's really good at math, and I was like, "Yeah, we're right there, my man. And then one day you'll be proud of me." The Captain Chaz is just popping in to say hi while I have a few minutes of break. Be well, everyone. What's up, Chaz? If y'all don't watch Chaz, you should. He's just posted a video on the Maverick. He does shoe offs, he does races. I really relate because we are the same exact speed. So Shannon says, "I buttered the bread for 3 months during COVID and I won a pair of Nova Blast ones. Worth it." Absolutely. That's amazing. I get tagged on Instagram all the time on those shoe giveaways. I never win anything, and no one I know has ever won anything. But I'm glad you won something, Shannon. Nova Blast ones, that's goated. If I did a top 10 of all time, they would be on there for sure. Luis Becerra says, "Ben and Sarah are coaches, so merchandise is a plus." Yeah, so that's a thing now, and now I get like, I wanted to be a coach in every job that I've had. I've been like a store manager, trainer, and a helper, and it's just something that I like to do, right? I have a passion for it. I went out and got certifications, but it is a thing that, like, if you're on the internet and you're a runner and you're like, "Oh, I could coach people," and they could coach people, and there's plenty of, every race has thousands and thousands and thousands of people without coaches. It's, to each their own, but they're like, "I'm a coach." So then it's like, are they a certified coach? I don't know, but it's a revenue stream for them. And so, to say nothing about their coaching, I don't know. I know Ben and Mary are coaches, and then everyone's a coach now. Everybody's a coach. So then I get lumped into that. So I'm like, oh great. So I'm sure at some point I'll catch grief, and I will voice it here because it is a safe space. All right. Did I miss any shoes before we go? Oh yeah. Last but not least, my shoe of the year, Mizuno Pro Low 3. Closing in on 100 miles. We'll do a 100-mile review on it. I've been doing it, using it for the long run. I'm going to use it for a variety of different workouts, just so I've got a bunch of 100-mile type of reviews coming, and they will be in more detail with all of the specs and all of that stuff. So appreciate you guys coming on. If you aren't able to catch these live streams going forward, I will put them on Spotify. I guess I have to go register something with Apple Podcasts and then create the same thing and then post them there as well. More work for me. Here for it. Love you guys. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to come here running rants and stuff. So we'll see you next week. Have a good day.